Hi, and welcome to my video on Mainstage automation. As most of you already know who use Mainstage, automation per se doesn't exist in a built-in way within Mainstage itself. And there's a few other things that Mainstage doesn't do, such as play MIDI files. It can play audio files. The playback will allow you to play audio, but it won't allow you to play MIDI. Now, I had the need for both, to be able to play MIDI files as well as to automate a bunch of functions. And the particular thing that drove me to look at this was that as a guitarist I was playing against a backing track and had about 3 or 4 different patches within that backing track, but it did change multiple times within that, as most of us do for verse, chorus, and lead, and so on. And I ended up realizing that I did something like 10 or 12 different patch changes that I had to use my foot controller for, and that's okay, but to be honest with you, I got a little bit tired of making sure that I timed everything properly, so I kind of took off down that path trying to figure out a better way, and I think I did that, which is pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through kind of the what, meaning that I'll show you what I did, and then I'll do future videos which really breaks down the actual how-to. Okay, so what I did is I used Logic as the MIDI sequencer going into Mainstage in order to do the automation. And I created 2 test files for that. Now these files are not musical in any way. They're purely just to give you guys ideas on what to do and kind of, you know, show you a few things, and you might go, whoa, I didn't know you could do that, and then just be creative and take it to wherever you want to beyond that. Almost anything is possible once you understand how this actually works, and it's not that difficult. Okay, so this is a Mainstage test file that I've created here. It's one of the templates actually, and I just used that. And then I created a Logic test file right here. And what I did is I created a series of different automation within Logic, and I broke it down by track just to make it a little bit easier to follow. So this first track, for example, I used that to program changes. So anything within track number 1 here contains program changes. Then CCs are within track 2. Then I have a MIDI drum sequence that gets played through Mainstage. So this MIDI data is being sent from Logic into Mainstage and being played within Mainstage through one of the software instruments within Mainstage. This track number 4 here is an example of, I call up a preset within Mainstage that has the playback plugin within it, and that will cue and play and then stop an audio backing track. Then track number 5 here is a sequence for a MIDI synth, and again that software instrument is within Mainstage, and I'll play through that. And then 6 here, I just to give you a better idea of you know, sort of volume automation, I threw in some specific volume changes here. So these are just CC7 type changes. And then this track number 7, I just did some random automation just for volume, and that just gives you an idea of how that automation is then sent from Logic into Mainstage, which will vary the volume, and you'll hear that. Then this track number 8 here, I just have again another MIDI sequence that is just being pushed through a drum track within Mainstage. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cue this MIDI sequence, and I'm just going to press play, and then I'll bring up the Mainstage file so you can actually see how this sequence affects Mainstage. Okay, so I'll bring up Mainstage right now, and in the background I'm just pressing play on my controller here to cue up the sequence, and I'll just step you through the different things that it does. So the first piece, if you remember, there's going to be a program change that takes place right there. PC10 calls up patch number 2, simple as that. Then there's another change which calls up patch number 5, and this is where I control the stomp. So I automatically put Candy Fuzz on and the rock on, and then I'll turn both of them off. And you'll see both of them go off, and there you go. And again, that's coming from the sequence within Logic. And then the next piece is I'm going to queue up a patch that contains a MIDI drum track. So the software instrument is within Mainstage here. And then you'll hear that MIDI sequence coming in from Logic to Mainstage, playing through this the EXS24 within Mainstage here. Then the next thing I do is I call up this patch, and this has an audio backing track in it. And the sequence then went to the start of the backing track and queued up, automatically starting play. Just a couple of volume changes there. And then the MIDI sequence tells it to stop. Then I call up another patch, and then I call up another patch. This is a MIDI synth track. So again, this MIDI data and the automation data for volume is coming from Logic right into Mainstage. And right down here you can see here's this second channel strip, so it's just another instrument that's getting... This was really to show you that I could take MIDI sequences and direct them to different channel strips within the same preset in Mainstage. And then I simply reset back and I go to my patch number 1. So for all intents and purposes, that sequence is finished, and you can see it ran right through here. So let me give you an idea from the Logic side how it looks. And this is fairly straightforward. Again, in Mainstage, you'll see that was that patch change that was going on. There's the PC. You can see executing. Here's the CCs to do the stops. Stop to on or off, I can't remember which one it was, and then right here both of them go on or off at the same time. Then this is where I select the preset for the drum track, and here is the MIDI sequence for the drum track itself, and in the background you can hear that's being played through Mainstage. And this is where I call up the patch that contains the audio backing track, and right here I tell it to play the track. Okay, and right here is where the track is going to stop. And there's another preset change up here, and then this is calling another patch that has that synth track in it. There's just the different volume changes in that automation sequence. And the drum track came up as well. And then the sequence ends, and I just reposition back to the start of the Mainstage file. So that's it. What I will do is I will show you in the next videos actually how I did this, but to just give you a basic idea, I use what's called the IAC driver that's built into Mac OS, and that stands for Inter-Application Connectivity, and it really simply becomes a virtual MIDI port from one application to the other, and I created a port just for Logic going into Mainstage, and I'll show you how to do that in future videos. Thank you, and if there's any questions or comments, please comment. I'm always happy to hear everyone's comments and answer any questions that I can. Thanks much.